And we're live. Welcome to the Live Reality Game Shows podcast, where we are recapping Australian Survivor Brains versus Brawn episodes 4, 5, and 6. I'm your host, Leo Lee. I'm too used to saying my username. And with me, my co-host. You might recognize her from literally everything live reality game shows wise, because she hosts everything. It's Naomi. Naomi, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for putting up with how slow I was. I have a gigantic iced coffee, and I also have popcorn. I have coffee and popcorn, and I am ready to talk about Australian Survivor.
Yes, we are, and thank you for coming very last minute.
I told you, I'm always down to clown. It just also happened to be that I was out doing something for work, so I couldn't be at my computer immediately.
The
but
one day you go out to work is the one day I ask you.
I've literally been unemployed for like 2 months. It's fine, that's my industry, but like this was the day that something happened, and I couldn't be at my computer all day.
Well, you are here, and we are here to talk Australian Survivor. First off, I know we're only 6 episodes in. How are you enjoying the season?
I am both loving and sort of like middling about the season. That's what I find Australian Survivor does to me. Where like I'll love a lot of the characters really instantly, but then immediately the focus will be on these characters where I'm like, oh my God, just vote them all out. Like I want to talk about the other people. Like, and so I'm glad that in this like sort of end, we get a lot of Way's story, and we get a lot of like Cara and Georgina, like these people who like
Georgia's
people who we haven't seen for a while. And
or
I'm glad
all.
that they're finally getting to like sort of tell their story. But I also love like the sort of calamity that Australian Survivor brings. So I'm still having fun.
Yeah, Australian Survivor is definitely known for its well editing and its cast.
I tweeted Australian Survivor really be like, women really throwing a spanner in the works. Because it's just like they don't understand that women are also a part of Survivor too in a lot of ways. And I'm kind of blown away that they've made it this far.
There's women in Survivor? What? I thought it was only full of alpha males and politicians.
I'm gonna find the oil. Yeah, oy vey.
Anyway, the episodes begin. Yeah, I mean, we all remember Chancers and Contenders too, where if your name wasn't Daisy, you don't get any screen time.
Ugh, and I never liked Daisy. Like, I'm sorry, she's fine, but I laughed my ass off when she got voted out in All Stars. That was my favorite. Like, yeah. All Stars was all pain, but then Daisy getting voted out, you know?
All Stars was all pain, but at least Shawnee was in it. That's why I always say, at least Shawnee was in it.
I miss her so much.
Anyway, that's enough about past season's fails. We're talking about the current season fails.
Moving on.
Yeah. Quick glimpse of the Brains tribe. They're doing yoga, where we might see a Bollock. Who wears underwear in their swimsuit?
I mean, I think it's so funny that George is like woefully underprepared in terms of outfits. Like he's dressed like a little sailor in his all white getup. And then, like, now he's just like, well, I have a bathing suit, but, like, I'm not going to wear underwear with it. But, like, he just wore, like, the little bit too short. But, like, if his bathing suit was a little bit longer, right? Like, 2008, you're at the beach vibing with friends. Like, I don't know. That's, like, middle school. Like, you know, when the shorts were down to, like, below the kneecap because nobody wanted to show a little bit of thigh. Then he'd be fine. But he's got the shorty shorts. Free the bollock.
Yeah. Woo. And we quickly go over to the Brawn tribe. We're covering over the Gavin blind side. Here we finally hear from Benny. We get his big intro. We find out he's a real estate agent, and apparently being rich equals being on the Brawn tribe.
Ugh, what is it about, like, Australian Survivor casting these, like, people who are in America, but they're, like, Australian technically, so they're, like...
I think it's, like, they're Australian citizens, but they, like, live in America.
I'm not a huge, I like David just fine from, speaking of past seasons.
Yeah.
But like.
The Golden God.
Yeah, it always kind of drove me nuts that he like didn't live in Australia, which I understand, but like, there's not a lot of people from American Survivor who like live in England and come play American Survivor, you know?
We did have like Gabon, I think Jillian and Ace, but they had at least British accents.
Yeah.
And then we had recently in the season Island of the Idols, we had Tom from Canada. So it's like we already have American Survivor. Just cast them on that.
Yeah, like that's what I kind of mean, like, and also I like the Canadian inclusion in American Survivor. I think if Canada's not going to have a Survivor, we might as well just like utilize their talent. We see how awesome casts are from like Big Brother Canada and stuff. But yeah,
way
I
better
agree.
than Big Brother US.
Like, if you put a hot guy, a hot dumbass on American Survivor with an Australian accent, like it would be hilarious, and also he would probably like be like another Taylor, like. I don't want Benny on Australian Survivor. I'm so glad he got voted out. Holy shit. I know it wasn't a great move, but holy shit, I'm so glad he got voted out.
We'll get into
We'll
that.
talk about that.
Get into the decision.
Yes.
So yeah. And have you live in America? I know you're East Coast and you're not on like the LA side. Have you ever been there? Is it like the Australian outback?
So LA is basically kind of like a desert. I've been to San Diego when I was like 9, and I went to San Francisco a lot. So like San Francisco, let me double check this. I believe is north while LA is south. And California is so big, like truly massive. It's a huge state. And LA is like really sort of dry. They have a lot of the like problems with droughts and having to conserve their water. So I do think he's right in that aspect, that like it's probably the same sort of like arid climate that he's used to. And it probably is, it's a cutthroat place, man. Like LA is like, it's where Hollywood is, right? That shit's cutthroat. But at the same time, I don't think it's Australian outback levels of like, cutthroat and dangerous. I feel like the worst you're going to get is like, you might like accidentally get stepped on by some like woman in like 8-inch heels, like it's not that dangerous.
I just know Australian outback, LA heat, decent, probably sunshine in New York. I'd be melting. We are not used to sun over here. We recently had a heat wave where we were like we were just under the 30s and everyone was dying. Well, for you guys, it's just probably t-shirt weather.
Yeah, so I actually went to Ireland 2 years ago in August, and I was wearing jeans the whole time. I was wearing jeans. I went to a beach, and there's a photo of me in like a full rain jacket and pants, and just like the wind is kicking the shit out of me. Like it is freeze, and I understand why you guys are like up there, and also it rains all the fucking time. But I have to say, I found it very funny that like, if they did like British Survivor or like, like Irish Survivor, like everybody would die because they would not be able to handle the climate.
No, we get 4 seasons in one day here.
You guys are kind of like Maine in that way. Like the U.S. state of Maine is very similar, where like I went to summer camp there, and you would say, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Like it will change. Like shit's gonna hit the fan in a different direction. You just don't know what.
I remember during my mock exams, it rained, snowed, sunshine, cloudy, back to rain within 2 hours.
I love Ireland, man. Yeah. Y'all are a mess, and I love it.
Anyway, enough about my weird country. So, after Benny's first confessional in 4 episodes, we cut to Simon and Emmett, who recently lost Gavin, the nice guy. And they're immediately searching for idols. Simon apparently went to the same shop Chappie's went to go for Speedo shopping. And the one thing I was questioning is, why is nobody following them?
Yeah, this was like one of those classic, that was on another season, right? Where like they kept letting people find idols. Maybe it was like David versus Goliath, right? People were always complaining that
Heroes versus healers versus hustlers.
Yeah, how could you let Ben go and find the idols? And this felt very similar to me of like, how could you just let them go? But I feel like at the same time, you almost want to not like, it's this weird thing where like, if you keep winning, you want the person to sort of stay on your side. So you don't want to like fully ostracize them. Like the way that George is feeling fully ostracized by his group and is like actively searching for an idol because he knows that they'll vote him out. I feel like in Australian Survivor, you might want to like try and play it cool, be like, look, anything can happen. Who knows? But also at the same time, like you should absolutely be tailing this guy like a little bit. Like Shannon, pretend you want to work with him or something. Like tail him.
Yeah.
Like, oy vey.
Yeah, Australian Survivor, the one show where idols outnumber confessionals.
Oh, we also have to talk about like the funniest thing to me about Australian Survivor is that it's almost like Top Chef in that they'll cut to like the package about the contestant and then you just go, okay, either they're going home or they're going home in like 2 episodes. Like whenever there's a package about somebody and it's like that, like, hey, this is what I do, look at me, badass with makeup on, like that's when you go like, okay, hang on. And Top Chef is guilty of this a lot, where like if you get the emotional story, you're either going far or you're going home. Like there's no other options. And that's what when I saw Benny's package, I was kind of like, huh, I think Benny might be going home soon. Like, it just is a telegraph.
Yeah, I wasn't, oh, Benny might go home. I was, oh, so Benny's going home.
Yeah, you were more certain than I was.
Yes. Well, you mentioned George ostracizing himself. It then cuts to the Brains tribe complaining that they're not getting any rewards. However, they're winning the immunities. And George goes on another speech on how he's at the bottom of the tribe because he just happened to save half of them.
What an absolute dumbass. Like George, and they say it, like George saved a bunch of people. They say it earlier, like he saved a bunch of people but has no allies. And I really think that this just goes to show that like you can have all the luck in the world in Survivor, but like if you don't have the social skills, like it really does make it hard for you to win the game in just general.
Yeah, it really makes me very concerned for Australian politics if that's an example of what they're going through.
I still have to figure out like what he actually does in politics. Like that makes me laugh. I have to figure it out.
Yeah, apparently he's a part of the Labour Party, which I don't know if that's the good one or the bad one. I think he probably just hands out flyers. It's like, I'm a part of the Labour Party. I just hand the flyers out.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. What is like? Yeah, because labor means something different in like every single country that uses it as a party. Like, and so it's I never assume because I was like I don't fucking know what that means. Like everybody's all over the place.
Yeah, is that the one people hate? Is that the one everybody loves?
Right.
Is that the one that's screwing us over? But while you're looking up what labor means,
look it up. You do it.
Yeah,
you take it away.
Yeah, while you're doing that, George goes idol hunting because he knows he's on the bottom, and the Brains tribe, using their brains, sends somebody to follow him. Brawn, take notes. And with that, Baden actually finds a clue to an idol near the rock bay at the river. So we had a complete mislead. We thought, oh, George is going to find this idol, but Baden found this clue. Maybe he's going to get the idol. And all that jazz.
Not to like jump too far ahead, but it almost is like a mislead to a mislead. Exactly. Because I was like, oh shit, Baden's gonna find the idol. Okay, here we go. And that didn't happen.
Already so much better than the last Baden we saw on Survivor.
Oh, look, Baden. Shout out to Baden because Baden does like the Reddit answers. I love that. Every time I watched his like season, he would do like a commentary on Reddit of like what he was thinking or like, some stuff we didn't see. And I obsessively read those. Him, Harry, and Nick are like Reddit icons, I feel like.
Yeah.
Even if they're not good at the game.
Yeah. So after we get all the tribal bonanza, we get to the reward challenge where it's a shooting basketball challenge. And Brawn continue their well, actually, first, we get the Brains reaction to Gavin going home, and they all say, well, Nice Guys finished last. Have any of these people seen the show?
It's so funny to me because, like, Nice Guys finished last is, like, this misogynistic saying that I remember from, like, high school. This idea that, like, oh, guys are nice to women, but they don't get any because whatever. And I was just like, what kind of fucking bullshit is this? Like, it's so funny to me that they're like, oh, we just vote somebody out because they're nice. Like, that is not what happens in Survivor. Like, nobody ever just goes, ugh, they're too nice. Let's vote them out pre-merge. Like, that so rarely ever happens in this game.
I'm really trying to think of a moment where that has happened.
Like, I can understand voting somebody out because they're nice late in the game and the jury likes them. But, like, that never happens in the early game because you just want to keep the people you like around.
Yeah, you need allies. He just didn't have the right ones.
Oy vey. I also
Yeah.
don't know. Do you like? I didn't get to watch your full episode, but do you think that going after Gavin was the right move, or do you think they should have gone after one of the
No,
bigger boys?
bigger boys. They shouldn't have gone for him.
Especially seeing how big of a threat Simon is now, it feels like they should have gone after Simon.
Yeah. Or should we say David 2.0 at this point?
Oy vey.
David without the personality.
Without the personality or like any of the interesting characteristics. Like Simon is a piece of toast. Like I cannot care less about this man.
Oh, don't be insulting Toast like that.
I love Toast.
Yeah. The only good thing about Simon, at least he's kind of decent to look at.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
But like again, honestly, I kind of love Gerald more this season. Like Gerald is so funny to me that I
keep
like
calling him
more.
Garrett.
I
cannot get his name.
Gerald, like Gerald from Scotty Survivor. Like I keep thinking that's his name, but it's not, and that's why I always forget it. But I love him.
Shout out to Scotty Survivor. That final will come eventually.
It'll come. Just keep the faith.
Yeah. I'm looking at my notes and I literally wrote Garrett the entire time whenever I mentioned Gerald. So I cannot remember his name. So the Brawn win continued the reward streak, but they kind of play a little dirty, knocking balls out with people's hands, kind of pushing them in the way.
My favorite was when they because Simon knocks the ball out, right? But then he tries to shoot in like the wrong area. That made me laugh really hard. It's like he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna knock this stuff out of your hands," and then like immediately fucked it up. I that tickled my fancy.
Yeah, they're the Brawn for a reason, and I mean it's fair. Like, yeah, they're playing dirty. How dare they smack the balls? It's not against the rules.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
like that's the whole point of those challenges. But I do think that it was kind of like a little goofy that they designed this challenge. I didn't love this challenge. I don't know how you felt about it, but I thought it was like weird.
The challenges are never really something I pay attention to. I just like, is it done yet? Who won?
Yeah, I think that the most I really liked the first challenge, the one that they did with the like spelling brains and Brawn with the sort of the circles. I don't know how to describe it. The like star. I really like
the very first challenge they did.
Exactly. I really like that one. And I feel like Australian Survivor kind of does itself a disservice by like trying to do all of these challenges and cram it into the episode. I really don't think that they need reward challenges as much as they think they do. And I don't know if you agree or disagree, but like I'm tired of seeing the reward challenges on Australian Survivor. I love challenges. I really do. We don't need them.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just skip through the reward challenge. You skip through the after the reward challenge, unless there's like something interesting, like somebody finds an idol. We'll get to it. So reward happens. Brains are upset that they lost, and Brawn played dirty. Hoo-ha! Which I know, yeah, they play dirty. It's annoying to constantly hear it though. Like, so yeah, you lost. Get over it. You're used to it by now.
Yeah, I also I'm kind of a firm believer, and I know that it's hard because like food is food, in that you don't need to waste your energy on the reward challenges when you should be saving it for the immunity challenges, especially considering how hard and sort of exhausting the Australian Survivor immunities and rewards can be. Like, don't waste your energy on this shit.
Yeah, it seems like they're making all the more physical challenges the reward, and all the more mental challenges the immunities.
And I appreciate that, but I feel like that at a certain point you're going to get burned by just like letting the brains, like the brains are just kind of getting decimated because it is too physical, and I feel like it's got to be so frustrating to like lose a challenge every other day.
Yeah, we need a beauty tribe to help even it out. I'm still convinced this season was originally supposed to be Brain, Brawn, Beauty, but for some reason they just cut Beauty.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like Beauty doesn't like sustain as well in terms of like character casting, because like Brawn is like, hey, you're tough, but can you be smart? And Brains is like, hey, you're smart, but can you be tough? And Beauty's just kind of like, hey, you're hot, but can you be smart?
Are you
and
more
that
than
feels
just
offensive.
hot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that feels like not nice.
Yeah, it's like, you're good looking. Can you do more than look pretty?
Yeah, and
And the answer is usually, if your name's not Michelle, no.
yeah, I think that's also another good point, is like the archetype of like the sneaky woman who is like visually appealing, or like even the man who's visually appealing, it never works, right? Nobody's ever going to play the Parvati game except Parvati. So I understand why there's no beauty tribe. I think it's bad to try again, which is why I'm glad that they didn't do it in this season and they just stuck to Brains versus Brawn. I do wish that Australian Survivor would stop doing blank versus blank. Like I really think that they have reached the sort of like maximum of blank versus blank, and I wish they would do something like Survivor New Zealand did season 2, where they did like, you know, the hey you go, what is it called, the Den of Decision, I don't remember, like the little like Survivor New Zealand would do this thing where a player from each tribe would get sent to like a location, and then they would do a challenge,
like an exile island type thing.
Right, but you were sort of competing, and it was like your secret to have with the person that you competed against. And I loved that way more because that inspired a lot of cross-tribal alliances, and it also inspired a lot of like lying to people. And I think Australian Survivor, with all the twists that it has in store, it doesn't need to make it a versus, and you don't need the reward challenges. I would just cut that all.
These twists.
I know. Like, oy vey.
Yeah,
3 episodes, oy vey.
Yeah. So reward happens, we all get back, and we get Gerald's intro moment.
Iconic.
Yeah. He cuts wood, he's a farmer, and he drinks milk.
He's really obsessed with animal products, which is such a strange way to phrase it, but like I guess if that's what vegans are against, you might as well talk about it. But
veganism. He and Emmett are on the same tribe. I was going to say, pray they're not on the same
plant-based, baby. Yeah. I get it. You eat plants. Oh my god.
Yeah. Veganism. I don't know if you. I don't know if you've seen this channel like Jubilee, where they do the occasional odd ones out video, and there was one like, which one of these is not a vegan?
Oh no.
Okay, so there's one where there's this one girl, Erin, of course her name's Erin, and she's like harping on about people being like, that's not vegan. It's like, you're wearing leather shoes. The strap on your bag is leather. That's not vegan. And she like became this whole meme.
I love it.
Yeah. So we cut back to the Brains, mourning over their umpteenth lost in reward. Baden is sitting there stressing and goes idol hunting, only for George to find it.
Yeah, it makes me laugh how like stressed out Baden is about finding the idol. Do you think that if he didn't like look so hard for it, that George wouldn't have kind of known where to go? So this is why, because I'm thinking about like if Baden didn't sort of like circle that area a bunch, right? He knows where it kind of is, so he's looking around. Do you think that George would have known to also look in that area?
I think he would have eventually gone to that area because he was probably searching the whole grounds. I was going to say island till I remembered they're not on an island.
Yeah, their whole camp, I guess.
Camp, yes. So he probably would have eventually found it. I think Baden just cut off like a couple of hours to help him find it. Well, him and Wei, they were together when they found it.
Yeah, and I think it just, for Baden, it just goes to show that like when you're playing Survivor, like there is something about patience that should be rewarded, and I feel like Baden really like rushed through this idol. Like he was just so freaked out about finding it, which I don't think he really needed, because he was in a decent spot in the tribe. You know, we find out later that like they're a little boned now, but he was for all intents and purposes in a decent spot in the tribe and didn't need to find the idol, but he found it. Or he doesn't find it, but he's so panicked about it that I think it sets George off to look for it. So I think that Baden needed to calm down here, and that idol could have been his.
Yeah, I think whenever in your Survivor and you hear you have a chance to have an idol, no matter what your spot is, you will always go to get it.
Exactly. It's just like, it's such an impulse. It's like finding out that like, you know, you have chocolate in the fridge and you're like, ooh, I should wait till after. Yeah, like I should wait till after dinner, but I'm not going to.
I should wait till after dinner after you've eaten half of it already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, George finds the idol. We cut to the immunity challenge. where the Brawn winning reward and Brain winning immunity trend continues to this day because Brawn proving their worth cannot spell. Brain figures out the puzzle, wins immunity, Brawn loses, and they're going back trying to figure it out. And Simon's name immediately thrown up, being like, he has to go, big threat, all that stuff. And Simon's side says, we need to keep the tribe strong. Let's vote off Benny, who is useless, pretty much. And I found it interesting being like, well, not because obviously two sides, but I found it interesting, like, it's rare that we hear a man being the weakest in a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it'd be like a girl, like he could have easily just been like, we have to go for Shannon.
Yeah, and like I love Queen Janelle, gone too soon, because her shit is the same shit that I'm on, which is like, if you are either being too impulsive or not thinking with your head enough, or I also think a type of player that I really dislike is somebody who gets too competitive in the challenge. I want to vote that person out. I want to vote out the people who are screwing around, not contributing, and like being way too competitive, and not taking it well, right? Like, you know, if you lose and somebody's like a little league coach, like freaking out over like, you know, a lost reward challenge, that energy is going to sort of destroy your camp life. So I was thrilled to see that they were like, no, it's not about the women. The women completely did their job here. It is about the men. And that is, I think, the one sort of positive about, like, well, first of all, I love the women on the Brawn tribe. Like, I love all of them. But most importantly, I love that, like, we're reaching a point in Survivor where, like, people can recognize, and this is actually what I think, we'll get to it later, but, like, is so great about Way's story is that there is this point where it's like, no, their brains are a valuable asset and we need to keep them here. Who is fucking up the challenges for us? Well, it's the dummies. Let's get them out.
Yeah. So we get a classic Survivor war story where it's like, which do you value more, loyalty or strength? Let's say this was you. You just lost your third challenge in a row. You were in a majority alliance. However, the people you were with aren't necessarily the strongest. The people you're against do help more in challenges.
Yeah.
Which do you go for?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like this is kind of what George does this episode a little bit with Baden, where he goes up to Baden and he's like, hey, let's work together. And he presents him with the opportunity to work together. I do think that somebody like Benny, who is a little too loosey-goosey, is not ideal to keep around.
Love you, Lucy. Hope you're on All-Stars.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's kind of like Benny was kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, he didn't really care and he wasn't good at contributing to the challenge. And while Simon is a physical threat, if you can sort of pivot to be like, hey, Simon and Emmett, like, we'll work with you. Like, I will work with you, especially if you're Shannon, where they were just targeting you. Just, I guess, like, you always want to think about, like, the idea of a swap, right? What's the worst case scenario? If you're swapped with the people that you didn't work with on your original tribe, and then they just try to get you voted out, especially in a minority situation, you kind of want to have that buffer of like, well, actually, I saved them a little bit, so like, let's try and work together to go against our other common enemy. I kind of agree with them voting out Benny, although I feel like the way that they went about it was brutal and really bad. But I think overall, the concept of voting out Benny to keep in somebody like Simon, who is a physical threat in front of any of the other people in the tribe, at the end of the day, is a good idea in theory, just terribly executed.
Yeah. I personally think they should have voted off Simon or Emmett now. And then if they lose again, just vote off Benny. Because now they only have the majority by one. And we already know that Big D has proven to be a flipper with almost throwing out Kez's name the last tribal and then flipping at this tribal. Actually, hold on. I actually did something that I probably is a bit too much.
Well, I think also you're correct about Big D, right? Big D is a little bit of a flip-flopper, and he's just going to go with whatever is best and most convenient for him. And I would be kind of nervous about that if I was the girls, because he's not necessarily loyal to me the way someone like Gerald is. He's loyal to what's benefiting him the most at the moment. And I feel like he could easily sort of change his mind in any given situation.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody that's like, I'm not tight with anyone. I'm tight with whoever can get me to the end.
Yeah,
So,
which is not somebody like it is that kind of like rogue David energy of like, I will do exactly what's best for me, even if you're my ally. I will fuck you over if it is great for me.
yeah. Or the classic Sanders trap. As long as it ain't me.
Oh yeah.
So we get the tribal, votes are cast, and it turns out that it's a tie.
Look at these graphics. Oh, I was just looking this up, so I'm glad that you pulled this up.
Yeah, that's why I did this. We see that the original alliance voted, the majority vote for Simon, and then the original vote for Benny, but Danny flipped and went with Benny to go along with keeping the tribe strong. We then get to a revote. Things happen.
Come on, revote.
Benny, he's not pleading his case. He's just saying, wow, how could you think about betraying me? And it's nice that lack of thing that we got Kez and Shannon flipped.
Yeah, so I think that Shannon really played it really poorly here, right? Because she's like, oh, Benny, make your case to me. Now, I think that's a terrible way to address it, because what if, because there is a world, right? Shannon's name has been out there, and Shannon is almost like the victim of going home early. There's a world where Simon looks at Benny and says, hey, do you want to vote out Shannon? And that world very much exists, that if Shannon doesn't play her cards right, like Benny and Simon could blow it up and try to vote her out, because we've already lost one woman on this tribe. So even though the numbers are even, like, I do still think that there's a good chance that Benny kind of flips, and then, Big D sees that the numbers are going that direction and flips with them. So I thought that Shannon was playing this pretty terribly here. Like, you never want to tell one like firm survivor belief I have is like, you never, ever, ever want to tell someone that they're going home, because it will never, ever, ever work out for you. It will always backfire on your face somehow. And I feel like this is an instance of that, where it's like, if by some reason Benny had survived this vote, it would have destroyed Shannon's game.
Yeah, for sure. I also have that belief that don't tell somebody they're going home. Like those people that say, should we tell them just so like they're not blindsided? You're like, no, keep it hidden. Nobody wants to hear that they have no chance.
Right. And nobody ever, not only that, but like, you never want to let them get the impression that like I guess it's like, you never want to risk the idol play, but more importantly, you never want to give them the impression that like they're absolutely going home, because it just like crushes them, I think, before the vote. And it makes things actually easier for them to blow things up in your face. And you're just inviting the chaos, and that's not what you want.
Yeah. Actually, you just remind me of, I tried doing that and it fucking them over when Craig got voted off, when they told Phoebe, we're choosing you to go home, and Phoebe had her idol.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's...
They could have easily played it.
Was.
It was like Craig's vote off right before they stole Sue.
Yep. And that vote, I think, was so pivotal, because then it ends up leading into, like, obviously Christy's win. But that's like a great example of like, you never ever reveal the plan, because you never ever know what's going on with the person that you're trying to vote out. And you should always assume that they haven't, the way that I kind of, like, you should always assume that they have an idol in their pocket, but at the very least, you should assume that if you tell them they're going home, they're going to look at you and say, well, fuck you, I'm going to try and get you voted out instead. Like, either option, not good for you.
Yeah. So with that, Benny was voted off and joins the group of the 5-5 Club. Spoilers for a whole bunch of stuff. Speaking of Phoebe, she was also somebody who was voted off 5-5.
Wow. Kara and Andrew, icons.
Yeah.
And Jubal, icons. Like,
no,
wow.
all of those that you just named ended in rock draws.
I know, icons. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Benny's out. Nobody really misses him. He was just shown. On to episode 5.
Bye, Benny. Nobody will miss you.
Yeah. We'll focus more on the actual people that mean something.
Yeah, right.
So, to think that was only one episode, we still have 2 more. So we get to episode 5, right after Benny's tribal. So sad. And Gerald, decides to perk up the mood with modeling. He's giving Shannon a run for her money. While he's trying to lift up the tribe, be the happy guy, and then it cuts to Simon just looking absolutely miserable.
Yeah, and again, I think this actually goes back to what I was saying about Shannon, is like, if Shannon had just voted for Benny, then Simon would have really felt like she was with him. But instead, she basically just like is kind of hemming and hawing about who she's going to vote out, and it makes both of them mad at her. And I really think she should have just stuck to her guns. If she was going to flip on Benny, flip on Benny. But instead, she's got to piss off Simon and piss off Benny, and either one of them staying is bad for her. I also have to say that Gerald is falling into a great position on the tribe because everybody likes him. It's not just that he's like helpful to the tribe existence, but also everybody finds him necessary for camp life to be successful. And that's exactly where you kind of want to be in a tribe.
Yeah, I feel like in Survivor, people tend to forget about the camp life stuff. When people say like, "Oh, I want to vote off this person because they're really annoying me,"
right?
People don't realize that they're stuck on an island for who knows how long with these people, and that can do a number on your mental health.
Absolutely, and you are always going to want to protect the funny person and the person that makes you feel better over the person that you're just kind of sort of working with. And that's why I also think that like Way, we'll get to it later, but like Way flipping on George, I actually think is a good move for her, but we'll talk about that way later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it way later.
Hey now.
Tons. Yeah, while Garrett's trying to brighten up the mood, Simon decides to bring it down by going on a second idol hunt, only to find an idol this time. I mean, well done, he found an idol. I'm sick of like the stereotypical guys finding idols.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about Australian Survivor, whether they're like too easy to find or like the camp just allows them to like really split off, but like
producers pointing.
Yeah, like it feels really, really easy to find an idol on this show. And I understand that it's like interesting and brings the drama, but like I don't know. I'm tired of the idol play. I'm tired of the like and then like an idol being played, you know?
Like
I
oh my god, there's an idol that we just saw 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. And also their idols, they love to put like a big old gemstone in like the middle of their idols. I don't know why. Like it's so I kind of find their idols to be tacky.
I personally like it because I like tacky stuff and I always like gemstones. I always find the US ones are always so boring. They're always just like different beads and whatever weird tiki masks.
Oh, I hate the beads. Like, don't get me wrong. I hate the like the string. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the like claw around the thing, but they're always just like a big red dot. And I'm like, okay, come on, guys, let's find. There's other colors out there. Like, let's find another color.
Like, I can understand red for the Brawn tribe because that's their tribe color, but come on, why couldn't you do yellow for the brains?
Exactly. Like it doesn't. It like kind of they don't differentiate very much.
No, they look the exact same. Like I liked as much as Champs vs Contenders 2 was a terrible season. Yeah. At least their idol colors were different.
Yeah, exactly.
The one good thing about that season.
Oh, see, I had a crush on Harry the whole time, so I enjoyed that season.
Oh my, so adorable.
And he scooped ice cream. I used to scoop ice cream. I was like, this is perfect. And he married an American girl. I mean, cheers to you, but could have been me.
Well done. If only you knew straight. We love you, Harry. Come back.
So who is your favorite at this point? Like episode 5, we've gotten to know quite a few people. Who do you like the most out of this whole cast?
This perfectly segues into the next topic. I really like Joey.
Oh,
I find him so fun to watch, and I know it's rare for me to actually like a guy on Survivor because I usually like
I was gonna say Joey very like Dale Jackson vibes, and yet you like him.
If Dale and Jackson are actually good people, I'm kidding. It's like if you took the positive parts of Dale and Jackson and just got rid of the annoying ones.
Thank God they don't watch this, huh?
Oh, they're not watching this.
Maybe they will. Who knows? I didn't think they were watching my shit, but turns out they were.
Yeah.
That's so
Love you
funny.
too, I swear. So yeah, I really like Joey. He's so fun to watch. And we get to see his intro moment. So immediately I was like, oh, for God's sake, don't tell me he's going home.
Yeah, I feel like this was like a great time to introduce Joey because he had been somebody that I was like, like, what's this guy's deal, right? Like,
What's he do?
Right, what's this guy doing in this game? And I actually think that like Joey is a great character, right? He is like what Benny thinks he is. He's funny. He's against the grain. He is an alpha male, but he's not like abrasive about it the same way that Simon is. But he is also like kind of a really compelling Survivor player to watch. So I love Joey. I'm kind of rooting against him, but in the like, you know, I want to see. I'm like way win the season kind of mode right now, way or Kez. And so I'm kind of like, you know what, Joe, you can be the foil, but like you gotta go soon. Or
yeah,
you gotta go
can be
merge.
like you can be the Harry where it's like it looks like you're gonna win and we would like to see you win, but we want to see somebody else win as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So apparently Joey had this alliance from the beginning with Andrew, Georgia, and Lara. And apparently that happened. We never got to see it start for some reason. We just hear it from Joey's like, yep, you, and you, we are an alliance and we are in control.
Are these the people who got left out of the safety?
Almost. Georgia was the only one that was saved.
Yeah, I feel like this feels like a group of cool kids. This feels like a clique in a lot of ways, this alliance. And that's kind of where I sort of felt this coming from is like it's like the cool kids of the tribe sort of really bonding together and forming this collective. I do like them. I think it's a fun alliance. I love to see just like older women, not that they're terribly old, but like I like to see older women working in Survivor and thriving. It's why that like as much as like Chance vs Contenders 2 is brutal, I love Janine, I love Pia, like you know, Australian Survivor has some like Sue, old icons, queens of the middle aged, and it's Shane. Like this
Sharn.
is right. Like I love these icons, and so I'm so happy to see that like they are fitting in for whatever reason. Even though eventually we will see Cara go home. Like it was just a George's
or will she?
It's kind of at the expense of George, and I think that like this is my favorite sort of Australian Survivor character is like the sort of middle-aged woman, and I'm really excited to see the people in this alliance. Not that they're all like particularly middle-aged, but you know some of them are.
Yeah, they're not like 21-year-old models that we're used to seeing.
Right, which you know, look, no shade to Monica, but I forgot Monica was a character for a long time.
I was about to ask which Monica.
Monica from Chance vs Contenders.
One. For a second, I thought you were talking about Samoa Monica.
No, but also Samoa Monica is another who? Even though she was on 2 seasons. It's a bit of a who.
Yeah, I'm convinced that out of the voting poll, she was like 10th.
You could have told me that was the same Monica from those, like Monica from Survivor went to Survivor Australia, and I would believe you because I don't remember them either of them.
And she was on the same season as Russell as well. Can you imagine?
That would have been really funny.
It's like, ooh, round 2. So we get that. We get to the reward challenge. They see that Benny was voted off. People have no reaction because nobody can remember who he was. I kept calling him Salvatore for some reason until I remembered who his name was. And I have no idea why. So it's a rolling log challenge, and once again, Brawn wins.
Yay. Oh, they were so close too. When what's her name won, I was so excited.
Haley?
And I was like, oh yeah, she won, she did it. And then like they lost. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. We saw this little rivalry with Simon and Joey being like alpha rivals. So that's happened.
I hate the Alpha Rival storylines, but it's like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, like we've seen it already. AK versus Lucky, Matt versus Benji, Sean versus David, David versus Lucky.
David versus Matt. Yeah, like I'm tired of it, you know? Like
Yeah.
I don't care
Let's
about
get some
these men.
alpha women rivals.
I don't care about these men. Get them off my screen.
Let's get some alpha women rivals. Like, let's get. I'm trying to think of some.
Well, that's why Shane targeting Harry sucked, because I was like, Shane, you're so funny when you're mad at people. Target literally anybody else that I want to see go home, not Harry. Like, stop yelling at him. Like, I was like, please.
Oh, I still love that moment where I think he was talking to Henry and Michelle, and Harry was in front of them. They're like, Shane, who do you want to go?
Yeah. Absolute legend.
Shane managed to make herself iconic in one episode.
And you know, you're like, these men could never. Benny could never, you know.
Who? I feel like if your name is Ben in actual Survivor, you're never going to be good.
Right.
No, I said actual and not like fan made ones, because
shout out to Ben. We love a college Ben.
Yeah, check your emails. If I somehow get on the actual Survivor and get voted off, I'm saying that line. I'm stealing it from my own. I'm just gonna be like, check your emails, and no one's gonna understand.
And everyone's gonna be like, well, I don't have my
phone. Like, what? So anyway, enough about College Survivor. Maybe one day. We see Brawn gets the reward, and everyone, and oh my god, Simon finds another idol. Like, I mean, it's not even a clue. It's like an actual idol.
I'm tired. I'm just tired.
Yeah, like, can we see somebody else? I feel like on Brawn, if your name's not Simon or even Shannon, good luck. And on Brain, if your name is not George, good luck.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good news. I finally dug through Wikipedia and I figured it out. George was the assistant to a Labor Party representative. I like someone high up in the Labor Party. The Labor Party is considered center-left. The Labor Party categorizes itself as social democratic. So that's what party George is affiliated with.
And is that good or bad?
In my opinion, I think that's a party I would support. I don't want to get live reality games too political, but they are not the conservative side of things.
Okay, good to know. Oh wait, he's an assistant? No wonder he has authority problems.
He's got that like really sort of hyper tense personality. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Veep, but he feels like a Veep character in a lot of ways, which probably makes no sense if you've never seen it, but like it's just like that like hyper nervous political employee where like you're freaked out all the time because your job is just so high stress, and that's kind of what George registers to me as.
Sounds like a blast.
Sounds like someone you'd love to have at parties.
Yeah, political parties. So yeah, Simon finds his second idol. We're all crying on the inside, but there's a little joy in the fact that Gerald, I'll get his name right, I swear.
One day.
Yeah, sees him being like giddy and all, putting something in his bag, and it's like, Simon has an idol.
Which, good for him. That's like you need to have those observational skills in Survivor, right? Of like watching what other people are doing without seeming nosy makes you an asset to your tribe, right? If you know that Gerald's gonna spot if Simon has an idol, like that's such key information, and it makes him such an asset to the people that he's working with. Like I have to say the person that I was most impressed by in these 3 episodes was Gerald, because I think that he was playing the best and never once had a target on his back, never once for being too strong, never once for being not helpful. Like he was always right in the thick of things, and I really admire him. I think he did a great job these past 3 episodes.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to come out as like a little star on the rising. And yeah, it's very important to see that, like, we all remember, not to talk about Michigan again, but when Elisa saw that foot twitch and was like, Dale has an idol.
Yep, exactly. Like you really have to make sure that you are observing everybody. I think that's a part of Survivor that people don't um, remember, and you should really keep your eyes out for what's going on. And I'm really proud of like that Gerald is playing this game, because it just goes to show that Australian Survivor has the capability of casting interesting alpha males. It's just that they also cast a bunch of stupid alpha males on the other side of it.
It just seems to be the majority. Yeah. See, people, Survivor is not about alliances and blind sides.
Duh.
I know that. So we got to the Brains, who are once again wallowing in the defeat of a reward. We see more of like George and Kara's friendship, being like how George is just like in love with Kara, like the whole world is.
Yeah.
I feel like I just like anyone named Kara, because my favorite challenge player who retired, will miss you, Cara Maria. I don't know if you watched the challenge.
Look, I do. I have my Cara Maria opinions, but early Cara Maria, I was a fan of. I was, when she was the ultimate underdog, I was always rooting for her.
Yeah, I'll say this to anyone with Cara Maria opinions: if they're negative, don't say them.
Then I will not say them.
Okay. So we get to see that friendship blossom, and it's something that was like we always saw throughout like these episodes. Like we always saw George like make a confession saying how lovely Kara is, and we will see that she really is so lovely that she was willing to sacrifice her game.
Yeah, I'm really perplexed by the way that Kara played this in a lot of ways, because like I understand her concern for George and her sort of understanding that he's a little bit off the beaten path. I also think that like, what a weird way to play Survivor, and I don't know if she necessarily knows like how to actually play Survivor. There's another thing that I think Australian Survivor struggles with, which is like they cast all these really successful and powerful people, but then at the end of the day, like not all of them want to win the money. Like that's the other side of it too. Like if you want the prize at the end, you're going to play smarter and harder. And if you don't need it, you kind of lack a little bit of luster when you're playing, I find.
Yeah. I just always say this: have any of these people seen the show?
Right.
Like we've seen in College Survivors where people who had no clue what the show is can do very well.
Right.
Unless your name's Kat. But that's on College Survivor. This is actual Survivor.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah, that it always blows my mind when people go onto Survivor and then like don't really like. George even says that he was like working out forever. Like that made me laugh really hard. But like that's the thing, is you got to have a little bit more preparedness in the way you play.
Yeah, there's plenty of YouTube videos that do many Survivor explanations. You can learn a thing or two. Just watch the 60-minute video of Courtney ripping people to shreds.
Duh.
Okay, hold on. I have notes.
Notes. We're in the reward challenge now, right?
No, we went past that. We're still in the.
Who cares?
Yeah. You mentioned this earlier, where Baden goes looking for an island that's already been found, but George comes to him being like, I know we have our differences. I have this idol you've been looking for. Let's work together.
I think this is a decent move. What do you think?
I think it is very decent and very good actually, because Baden was somebody that seemed like they would never work with George, but he's keeping options open. He's not being like, no, we are never working together. He's being like talking and making moves with somebody who has some sort of power.
Yeah, I think that this is a good idea, because I think that Baden is actually a little bit more on the outs than we would expect. When you consider that the group is like this sort of Joey alliance, and not that like Joey couldn't have pulled in Baden, but it is a smart move for George to pull in Baden before Joey can get a handle on him. And I like this unlikely duo. I think it is very important in Survivor to have allies that are not similar to you, and to have allies that reflect different characteristics, so that you guys can work together as a group to have a lot of strengths. But I also feel like this could have I'm really impressed that George took this leap of faith because it could have backfired on him very easily, and it didn't. And I was very impressed by that.
I was expecting it to backfire.
I
Yeah,
was
it's always
like,
nice
oh, he's
seeing-
fucked. I was like, he's absolutely fucked. But then it worked.
Yeah, I was more thinking, oh no, Way's fucked because he's going to play his idol and they're going to cast their votes on her.
Yeah,
instead.
I know. Ugh. But thank God. Thank you, baby.
It's always nice seeing like these unlikely duels. Like we don't like seeing what the bronze is. Fought 3 of the exact same players just working together.
Right.
Like we want to see like a Simon Shannon alliance. What would that be like?
Right, and that's again why I still can't believe Shannon botched that so hard. Like, why couldn't she just say to Simon, "I will work with you going forward. Like, I know you targeted me. I am willing to move past that if you can agree with me that it is in our best interest to work together. Let's vote out Benny." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why she didn't do that, and it's still kind of blowing my mind. I feel like Shannon. I know that there were a lot of bad plays this week, and even though Kara went home to the other tribe, I would actually say that if Kara is number 1, like if she isn't actually going to go home, so it's fine. But if she went home, she would have been number 1, like big dumb move. But number 2 is Shannon. Shannon, I think, is the big dumb move maker of this batch of episodes.
Oh, sorry, Shannon.
I love her. I'm rooting for her, but big dumb move.
Yeah, I have to get used to the fact that we're saying Shannon and it's not Michigan Shannon. I've gotten that too stuck in my head now whenever we use same name players. We now get to the immunity challenge, which is a untangling challenge, or is that the next one? That's the no. This was the digging. No, this was the ball racing challenge.
Oh, yeah, the balls, the balls into the hoop. Yeah.
Yeah, where it was catch a ball, roll a ball, throw a ball, and it was pretty much that. George struggles to roll a ball into a hole. He's clearly never played skee ball before. Yes, I know what that is. And Brains lose after a 3 immunity winning streak, and the Brawn go back to winning all the challenges. So
yeah, I feel like this now things are starting to like. Luckily, it wasn't a total like demolishing, but like it really could have been. And like Australian Survivor's really lucky, but I think we're about to hit that. You know, like they're just gonna get demolished. Especially losing Kara to the other side. I feel like they're getting screwed.
Yeah, unless like a bigger tribe swap happens.
Yep.
Like seriously, they're hardly just going to send one person to a different tribe and being like, tribes are staying the same.
Yep. Right.
So the Brains lose, and the Joey Alliance is planning on targeting George, and everyone will be happy with it. But then George comes walking with an idol around his neck, telling his alliance to vote for Laura. I think this is a stupid move on George. I
agree, and this. Oh, okay. This just goes back to because I was texting my friend about whether or not I agreed with Way flipping on George. I think Way should have. I agree with Way flipping on George because when George behaves like this, Way could have easily been the collateral damage, right?
I really thought she was.
I thought this whole batch of episodes that Way was probably going to go home. And it's because George pulls shit like this. And I think that she is absolutely right to say that, like, I don't see a future with you because you can't keep yourself in control. And these people want to work with me, and they will probably protect me and take, like, if you're going to potentially go into an eventual swap where, like, let's say you end up, how many people are left? We had 5 eliminations out of 24. So
there's 19 left.
So either they're going to eliminate one more person and then swap into 2 tribes or swap into 3 tribes. And either way, isn't it better to be aligned with the strong people from your tribe should there be a potential swap rather than be aligned with the loose cannon that most people want to vote out? I think Way made a perfectly understandable move. And this is in the episode before this moment of George pulling out the idol is a testament to why Way needed to flip on him, because what is there to do? Like, what are you going to do when your ally pulls out an idol and you might go home because of it? Like, It's stupid.
I just want to know what was going through his head. Like, what did he think? Like, oh, I'm going to show them the idol. They're still going to vote for me, and we're going to get out Laura. Did he not think, I'm going to show them the idol? Oh, they might vote off someone else. So the Joey Alliance sees this, and they are thinking, crap, he has an idol. He's most likely going to play it. Who do we vote for? We're going to throw our votes on Mitch, of all people. I really thought they were going to throw their votes on Wei. I'm
Oh yeah,
delighted
Mitch is another big dummy of the game. What a Mitch,
oh, he's an idiot.
Girl, what are you doing, Mitch? Like,
so we get nothing from Mitch. All we hear about Mitch is that he's a wannabe leader. And apparently none of the tribe wants his leadership, which was pretty much dog shit.
Yeah, I have to say, I actually don't think I don't think the Mitch story was told very well. Because in the beginning, we were told that he's the leader. But if he wasn't the leader, then where's the Joey confessionals like early on saying, actually, Mitch really isn't the leader, but I'm going to let him take the fall for it, right? Because that would set us up for this moment. But instead, we just are told that Mitch is the leader and Mitch is the smart one. And why would we vote out Mitch? And that move against Mitch fails. But then Mitch is just like lost at sea and isn't like a part of any alliance. I'm so perplexed by everything
whatsoever.
What is Mitch doing, man? Yeah. Oh my God. What's going on with Mitch?
Yeah. So it seems like it's 4 for Mitch, 4 for Laura, and Rachel and Haley are in the middle, and they have to decide which one to go. Mitch is just on his own, still voting for George. Both sides are giving their thoughts. We get to the tribal. Everyone answers their questions as vaguely as they possibly can. And we get the results. And Rachel and Haley decided to vote for Mitch.
Yeah, so let's talk about Rachel and Haley, because I also think that poor Rachel.
Poor Rachel.
I think that Rachel also made a good move this game. Or I should say in these batches of episodes, because I think that voting with the majority alliance, it's so funny how George is so obsessed with like Mitch getting backstabbed. Like,
we'll get into it.
It's so funny because George is like in like cuckoo land, right? He's obsessed with like Mitch getting blindsided and obsessed with the way that she did it, like the way she came at them for it. But then at the same time, it's like she is also doing the thing that Wei is doing, which is like allying with the big threats so that if you swap in any situation, they're going to take out the other threats and not you. And like I love this move for them, and I love them, 2 queens.
Yeah, you mentioned who I asked her. One of my favorites earlier. Haley is another one of my favorites. She's just really fun to watch, even though we're not seeing that much of her. She's doing well in the challenge. She beat 2 Brawns in 2 kind of physical challenges. She beat an MMA fighter in a wrestling challenge. The girl is strong.
The girl is strong.
She beat a big wave surfer in a balancing challenge.
Yeah, well, that was really funny. I was like, oh, she's getting slick. Oh, well, all right, bye. Nope.
Haley is underrated.
I laughed my ass off. I thought that was great.
So we get to the votes, and for some reason, Mitch sticks with his George vote, even though he has an idol. Maybe he just thought he wasn't going to play it. And Mitch goes home and joins the Unique Vote-Off Club. These are a bunch of people whose vote-offs only happened once or twice.
Girl, I can't read this. I got bad eyes.
Well, basically, Mitch is at the bottom. He got voted off 6-4-1. The only other person to be voted off 6-4-1 is Paige in Chance vs. Contenders 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I can't fucking read that. That's so I have such terrible eyesight. That's hilarious. But like I can see Jack on there. Oh, look. Oh, a lot of the Champs versus Contenders on here, huh?
Yeah, a lot from Chance vs. Contenders 1 and 2. Who?
Just like messy. They're also the gameplay is also messy.
Yeah.
Bro, I have terrible eyesight. I can't read.
Either way, just know there's a lot of them. Oh wait, not Paige. Steve K got voted off 6-4-1. Paige just got
the guy with the glasses, right?
Yeah, Paige just got the second amount of votes in that tribal. That's why I got them mixed up. So, what was your thoughts on Mitch, on his playthrough, if you have any?
Oh, Mitch. I guess I'm like perplexed as to like Mitch's story, and we really didn't, I think, get it told to us at all. And I guess I should go back and try and see if I can find more info from Mitch, but like
We
I'm
get
really
his,
quite perplexed on like his gameplay and why he was in such a weird position to get voted out in this moment.
we got his big intro moment in the beginning, being like, he's a doctor, he's a leader, he's a brain, and then nothing. Like he got no confessionals this episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and like I don't
And
know.
it's
This is again why I have a problem with Australian Survivor. Is like I could have done with like a few less George confessionals over time to get a Mitch confessional. You know, like
or
especially
maybe
if we know that George is gonna. Sorry, if we know George is gonna last 6 episodes, 6 fucking episodes. This man is lasting, and he will be in a 7th technically.
he's. I mean,
Why?
he's most likely making a fire, and it's annoying.
That's
Not
what I'm
that
saying. Is
he's
like
annoying; it's the fact that we know he's making it fire.
right, like it's like if he's gonna make it at the very minimum 7 episodes that we know of right now, why do we need a ton of George confessionals? It feels like a Russell Hantz in a lot of ways, and I don't blame the players because it's not their fault that they're getting this edit, but I do blame the production of like, why are you selling me on this character that I already completely understand? But then there's people like Mitch who will go home that I have no idea about how they're going home.
Let's hear more from other players. They really love to shove their face. I think this is a rumor that, and it's like a reason why Sam from Chance vs. Contenders 2 got no confessionals. Producers have their favorites, and they will show them.
Yep.
If you're not a producer's favorite, you will not be shown a lot.
Yeah. Ugh.
I think I'm just kind of convinced maybe Australians aren't the best at producing shows and editing them, because I don't know. Did you watch Drag Race Down Under by any chance?
I watched about 10 minutes of it and then I got bored. And I've heard about how shitty it is. And
It
like,
was.
and that's what I'm saying is like something for like, y'all need to take a lesson out of South Korea's book because The Genius is perfect television. Y'all need to start editing better because I'm tired of it. Like, I really am. You know, Big Brother Canada at least can have a little bit of a balance, right? The US is sometimes really imbalanced, but like people do get their moments to shine, especially now things are changing. But like,
now that they actually got good people casted.
but like Australian Survivor, if you're going to waste my time with 3 episodes a week, if you're going to ask me to care about 24 players, I need to know who the fuck they are because I still can't tell you a lot of their names right now. It is like I am trying so hard to remember all of their names. And if you're going to ask me to care about like 5 women with like good muscles, you need to give me their storylines because I don't remember who they are.
Name those 5 women. Go.
Laura.
Wrong tribe.
Flick. Well, there's okay. So the women. Wait, okay, no, the Brawn tribe. Yeah. Laura's pretty buff too. Flick, Kez. Is it Danny?
Yeah. Who made the bad move?
Well, Shannon. I guess Laura is my other woman with muscles. And is it there would be 2 more women on the tribe, right? Because Janelle went home.
You named 4 of the girls. There's one more you're forgetting.
I genuinely have no idea what her name could be. Is it Shannon? Chelsea. Couldn't have guessed that in a million years. I don't know.
She's the MMA fighter.
Oh, see, I just know the MMA fighter. And I pay attention. I have a good memory, and like I can't remember their shit. You know, it's like brutal.
And I only remember them because I have a weird memory with Survivor. Yeah.
It's okay.
So Mitch goes home. Nobody really complains except for George, but we'll get into that. We start off with Shannon almost putting a spider up her vag.
That was funny. That was really funny. I love that moment, and that's what I think about a lot on Survivor of like the sort of like how many like scary moments do you have or like.
And they're in Australia. They're known for their spiders. My family is never going to Australia because of those spiders. Like, we have a family friend who lives in Australia or lived. I still don't know the living situation. They had a giant hunt spider on their back window car on the inside of the car.
Oh, do
Yeah.
not fuck with that shit one bit.
She asked like I always thought they were family members for some reason. She asked like, is that spider on the inside or the outside? The kid turned around and was like, inside. It's like, okay, everybody out, we're here now.
Everybody out, everybody
So
out.
calm.
Sorry, we have to go drive this car off a cliff.
We're driving off a cliff and setting on fire.
I would hate that. Yeah, Australian, and I actually do really like. Here's the thing. I don't know how you feel. I like this setting, although every time I see them like jump into dirt, I'm always like, oh god, that's a nightmare. But like, I do like this setting. We are getting all of the fun of Survivor with like a really sort of like brutal elements, and on the other side of it, I like that they also have like jackets and stuff. You know, like I like that they are suffering, but they are still prepared. That's
Unless you're Kez, who only brought like a 2-piece.
Yeah, Kez, girl, what are you doing? Come on, Kez, bring a sweater.
I actually love the setting because I'm pretty sure everyone is sick of seeing the Fijian Islands at this point.
Yeah.
So like anything that isn't Fiji Islands, I'm sure people are happy for.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that like we get location changes, because I also think that like the more we're just on like a tropical island, the less it actually matters to Survivor. And I think that we do need that sort of jumping around to make it compelling to watch.
Yeah, like there's so many other places you can go to that'll be just as brutal and probably better looking.
Bro, it's like how here's another Australian show that needs to get its shit together. The Amazing Race Australia. My guys, what the fuck season was that? Oh my god, it was.
I haven't
terrible.
been watching it.
It was terrible. They kept bringing in people like halfway through, and it's like, isn't this the Amazing Race? Aren't you all supposed to be competing at once? Like, I don't understand. But they were jumping around to a lot of Australian locations, of course, and I actually think that it was really nice, and I thought that they did a good job of highlighting the sort of different terrains and locations of Australia. Terrible season, but like good locations, and again, that's just like Australia is so lucky that they have that kind of terrain to mess around with. And I feel like the US should really start to like think about doing something in like even like Mexico, or like an area that is a little more tropical but is American again.
I mean, they did do a season of the US Amazing Race. It was the family season where they mostly stayed in America.
Oh yeah, I watched that recently. It's not great, but it is fun. I mean, the continental US and like, places like Costa Rica and stuff that are really nearby are fun to explore. But Survivor went to like Panama and like Micronesia. Like those are all technically like, either Central America or part of America's like weird fucking colonialist system. But at the end of the day, like Fiji is getting boring and I'm like tired of it. So please.
Yeah. I've always said this, I want to Survivor Hong Kong. That's only because the Asian aesthetic is one of my favorites to look at visually.
Yeah.
And the seasons are usually good if you just ignore Thailand.
I like Survivor China a lot. I'm a huge fan of Survivor China, and I feel like that is another terrain where it's like you can see how different it is and how difficult it is to adapt to that place. And I really do think that like we are losing one of the most compelling parts of Survivor when we stay in Fiji. So I have to say that's why this season is really great, and I love the sort of aesthetic of it. Like it really feels like things are shriveling up and dying in the desert. But I am also very tired of like how dusty the challenges are.
Dust balls flying everywhere. So after Shannon just avoids a spider bite in her no-no section, Garrett tells the Alliance about Simon's idol, but he only knows about one of them. He doesn't know that he has two. While the knowledge of having one idol is great, he has more than just one.
I feel like this is the danger, is like they're gonna outsmart him on his first idol, and then he's really gonna be a nightmare to deal with after. But we'll see, I guess.
I've been going through scenarios in my head of what to do to this because I like doing that, and in my head they always work out well. And it's as much as we support women, they are great. Simon's not using that idol on any of the girls.
Yeah, no way.
He's using it on himself and Emmett. So if they vote for Danny or Chelsea. If they can somehow make him waste 2 idols.
Yeah, I think that's the move, is target somebody like Danny who is still kind of on their side and wasn't able to pivot. Or even go after somebody like Big D, who is kind of like playing the fence a little bit more than you would want him to be playing the fence. And really like try and suss that out.
Yeah. It's definitely. It's just I'm waiting for like we're just gonna.
Shit is going to hit the fan next week, like very clearly.
Yes,
We'll
it's
see
gonna be
how.
a war for Kara. I almost said for Cara Maria. Get used to it. Okay, so we get after the Brawn tribe, we go to the Brains. They're having a happy dinner, celebrating being united, and then George starts to call out Rachel for being a manipulative, lying bitch.
Which I think is like I feel like George could have possibly kept Way on his side. I think this really is like one of the nails in the coffin, because it just shows that you want George to go home. George will freak out on you if you don't do exactly what he wants to happen. And that also, like, you need all people in Survivor need allies who are flexible, and like George is not flexible. Hands down, he's not flexible. He's fun. No. He's really funny to work with. He's loyal to you, but he's not flexible. And that is like so important in this game.
Yeah, if you can't show willingness to vote with not your plan, you're not used. And that's why I think he was upset. It's not because he said in his confessional, why would you vote off Mitch? He's the strongest person on our tribe. Wasn't this the same guy you tried to vote off in episode 1? He wasn't upset that Mitch got blindsided. Yeah. He was upset because he didn't do the blindside.
Exactly. And you gotta like imagine that Mitch, it's like it's kind of like not to bring this up. Remember Gina Marie crying over Nick Uhas being voted out in Big Brother? It's like that, where she's just like obsessed with the memory of him, but it's like he wasn't really working with her in the game, and he didn't really care about her in the game. She's just like obsessed with the fact that they voted him out, and that's what it felt like to me. Is like, who was like, how could you? And it's like, bitch, who are you to talk about this? Like, what do you mean, how could you?
Ugh. I try to ignore everything Big Brother that is bad, which is every season bar this modern one.
Well, not only that, BB15, one of the worst Big Brother seasons of all time. But
I've never seen the season. I know the whole boot. I've never seen the season. Yeah. I know the boot order and who won every HOH. I read the wiki a lot when I'm bored.
I like the wiki. I like a good wiki. I like the 3-hour videos, like BB whatever in 3 hours. I'm not watching the whole season. I'll just watch the video. Like,
yeah, I remember I watched when I started watching Big Brother 19 to 21, 22 just by looking at the wiki, because I kept getting spoiled on Twitter, and plus the seasons were all bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, who won HOH? Okay, Tyler won. Not fun. Who's nominated? Who won this HOH? Oh, Cody again. Who won the season? Oh, Cody.
That's how I started, honestly, to feel at the end of Australian Survivor All-Stars. I was like, oh, David won another immunity. Oh, they're not going to vote out David. Oh, okay. Like, I was so tired.
Another idol.
Yeah, I was so tired of David's success that I was really sort of frustrated with the season. And, like, that's, again, why, like, Australian Survivor, as much as I love it, I'm kind of like, if they're going to just keep letting alpha males, like, find idols and, like, not letting, but, like, there's such a, the storyline is like so similar right now, and I'm like, oh, do I even have the strength to? There's no immediacy for me to know what's going to happen. I feel like, even though there is, like, I didn't watch the last 3 episodes until like recently. You know, the first 3 episodes, I just didn't feel compelled. And that's why I'm like worried about this season as a whole. Is like, is it going to become really interesting gameplay, or is it just going to sort of fall to the wayside and be another sort of weird season where a man wins?
Men winning Survivor.
Let's hope it's not. But that's why I love that Way is still in the game. It's why I love, like, Rachel. You know, like, we need the characters that are the antithesis of the alpha male to succeed in the game, so that way we can have somebody that is able to put up a fight against them. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. We want to see people that put up a fight, not ones that are blindly loyal to those alpha men.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm sure
you.
Danny and Chelsea are great, but you seem like the players that are just loyal, and that's all your personality will show you.
Ay.
Okay, and then Rachel mentions, but isn't that the game we're playing? And George is like, no. Has he again? Have any of these people seen Survivor? People lie. Name one person who won Survivor who telling the truth.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like I'm kind of tired. I'm fed up with the way that George is behaving, because it's like the implication that like when people like are sort of demanding that like you don't need to do this, or like what Rachel is, I think, objectively saying, which is like, we can't let the other tribe know that we're having our problems. And George is like, I don't care. Like, no, like you really need to make sure that the other tribe doesn't know what's going on in your tribe, because as we see with Joey getting sort of taken over, they will weaponize that against you the moment they can.
Yeah. They just never see. Watch the show. If you're going to get. This is to any future players that I know you're obviously watching. If you're going to go on Survivor, at least know the basics of the show.
Yeah, like I feel like, well, and this also goes back to like what Survivor is as a whole, is like Survivor is different to different people. Some people think that Survivor to them is just being loyal and we'll all get to the end just fine. And so some other people think that Survivor is, you know, crazy manipulation and idle finds, and it's all a game, and like whatever I say to you, it's not real. But I do think that like George kind of needs to get his shit together a little bit. And that's why like ultimately I am rooting for Way to sort of get out of George's shadow, and we see Kara take the fall for it. And I think that like you need to get out of the guy's shadow who is pissing people off. That's not the person to align with. It's not going to work because he's not playing well. If he's like a Russell Hanson, he's pissing people off, but he's playing well, fine. But he's not playing well. And so he's never going to have power that a person would need in the game. He's only going to have the chaos.
Well, if the producers have anything to say about it, he'll always have power in an idol. I'll talk about it when we're at the end. Happy dinner, lies, upset over Mitch despite episode 1. Reward challenge! We mentioned this, George got upset in front of the Brawn tribe. Really showing that tribe unity, aren't they?
Messy.
Like, the Brawn tribe had their problems, but at least they know that they were faking it whenever they were in front of it. It's like, we had our differences, but now we're together, ready to win. Just, to quote Skipper from Madagascar, just smile and wave.
Classic Penguins of Madagascar. They them boys. I love them.
Brawn win again. Yay. What was this reward challenge?
Messy. I don't know. I just like, again, there's too many reward challenges. I love the challenges.
Oh, it was. Oh, this is the one where it's like they have to dig under something and then go through a couple of loops. One where smaller size is beneficial, and then the big brawny people win.
Oh, were they throwing their? No, they weren't throwing the blocks. What were they doing? Fuck. This just goes to show, like, guys, I can't remember what the fuck happened. Like, Survivor, stop. Like, just give me less challenges.
Just focus on immunity and give us the occasional reward. There's a reason why the US cut most of it out. But this time when Brawn wins, they get to bring a brain with them. They're arguing over Way or Joey. They decide Joey because Joey has a bigger mouth.
I think they made the absolute correct decision in this moment.
Absolutely. Way wouldn't have given them anything because at the time she was still with George.
Yep. Perfect move from the Brawn tribe on this moment. And honestly, dumbass Joey, but whatever.
Yeah, Joey, you're great, but keep the loudmouth talk to the confessionals.
Yep.
They're there for a reason. But back at the Brains camp, Rachel tries to calm things down and calmly explain, like, when we're in front of the Brawn, we need to be unified. And George is like, no. How is this guy a politician?
Or like, yeah, because he comes in and he advertises that he's so good at like politics and social manipulation, and then he's not good at it. No. And I feel like there's some great like RTP podcasts about like compromise and things like that. And I think in Survivor, you have to be really good at compromising. You have to be really good at like getting people to potentially do what you want, but more so understanding what they want and listening to that and recognizing that. And that's why I think just throughout this whole sort of ordeal, I'm really perplexed by the way that George plays and then thinks that he's playing well, and why Kara even bothers to stick around him. Like, it blows my mind.
I think Kara, she's just like, they get along well. And you're very right. To use an example from this season, and I can't believe I'm using this person in a positive name, when Simon compromised with Danny to vote Kez.
Right.
He was gunning for Shannon. He wanted Shannon. However, Danny, the person he wanted to flip, was like, I'd rather go Kez. He was like, okay, since you want Kez, we will do Kez. That shows compromise.
Yes, and you see that Danny even says it in his confessional. He says, that was a test. I was testing to see if they would do what I wanted to do and let me in the alliance, and they did. And like, that was a test of loyalty. And again, I really think that like Wei, I hope she can sort of be protected by the gang, because I think it's really important for them to be a unit, and like George is kind of disruptive of that unit, but like Wei, I hope Wei is protected by the group she has flipped to, you know?
Yeah. I feel like she won't be though.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, she is a valuable asset. I think that nothing is better than proving that you are nothing is better than proving that you're a puzzle asset early on, because people are not going to eliminate you because they know that you are like
good at
talented.
Puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Puzzle. It always comes into the puzzle. Not everyone can be a puzzler.
The puzzler.
I
want to go in Survivor just to be like, I'm the puzzler. Hello.
Whenever somebody says the puzzler, I always think of that Numberjacks villain.
I always think of like the Riddler from Batman, but instead it's just like puzzle pieces instead of a question mark.
Yeah. Whenever puzzle, we just always think of Nate.
Yeah. Of Nate.
You're all right. So we get to the immunity challenge. It was cranking on a board and then doing a giant puzzle. And the brains decide to sit way out. Arguably their best puzzler. Now, people were asking in the Discord, why would they sit out Wei? She was their best puzzler. And I was explaining that, yes, Wei is good at puzzles, but those puzzles are huge. Would Wei be able to lift them? Plus, if she wasn't going and struggling in the water, she would have been struggling with the crank.
Yeah, this is an instance where puzzle knowledge is not the most important part of the challenge. And a huge board like this, you have to be very deliberate with what you're doing. And even though that's important and you maybe need somebody to see the whole thing, it's a lot easier to sort of see things when they're nice and big than when they're really close up and you just need someone who's able to really focus on little details. This is an instance where, like, if you fall behind, you're fucked, as we see. Like, if you start to fall behind, you're not going to be able to catch up. And that's really the big problem for the Brains tribe, I think, in this moment. And they just fell too far behind. And, like, it doesn't matter if you have Wei or not. Like, you're not going to win.
Yeah. So Brawn won again. Yay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we get... Oh, we forgot to mention... Georgia got her intro moment.
Finally, she's like, I'm a forensic psychologist. I have to say, out of the whole batch of episodes, this was my favorite scene of her following around George and just asking her like psychologist questions. Like, well, why do you feel that way, George? And George's like, because I fucking hate all of you. And like, George is like, losing his mind, and George just keeps being like, why do you hate all of us?
Yeah. What did we do to you? You only just
said funny.
Yeah, you only just cut the tribe in half and called all the ones that you saved weak.
Fucking hilarious. I was laughing my goddamn ass off at this. So funny.
I was thinking her job is really cool. She's going home.
And it was also really funny because she's like, I'm a psychologist. I can read people. And then George's like, she thinks she can read me. fuck her. And like
Yeah. Not
nobody,
just
and
any
then
psychologist.
George
She's a
is pretty
criminal
readable.
psychologist. Yeah.
Criminal psychologist.
Yeah,
But
she
George
figures
is
out why
pretty
people
readable.
kill.
Ooh.
Ooh.
No, I think it's really funny that
Ew.
George is like, I'm not gonna let her outsmart me, but then he's just like wearing all of his emotions on his sleeve. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously you're gonna get outsmarted.
Yeah. I'm the smartest person on this tribe. I managed to get everyone to hate me. I pull out an idol so everyone would not vote for me, and I still wasted it. And everyone in the tribe still hates me, even though I saved half of them.
Hmm.
I will say, technically, the two tribals that they went to where people technically went home, the people he saved are still in.
See, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Suck it, Mitch.
yeah, I don't know censorship on this thing.
Well,
So,
you said vagina like 30 minutes ago. Like,
no, I said fudge.
okay, fine. You know what?
Yeah.
I honestly, it's worse, but it's fun.
It's a shortened version. It's Australia. They can say the C word and get away with it.
They can say whatever they feel like, huh? They
Yeah.
really just Australia has wild rules, but I love it. I kind of love it.
I mean, it's upside down, so.
Yeah.
So we get back to the camp, and everyone's like, okay, now let's go for George. He doesn't have an idol, they think. Well, they're technically right, because Kara's the one who finds the idol. Yay! But it's going to use it on George because they're allies, because that's what Australian Survivor loves doing.
Do you have the vote photograph ready? Because I want to talk about like the logistics of this vote. Because
Sure.
I think it's a smart move to have Wei vote for George. Because,
And not Kara?
right. Because then the split vote will definitely work because you know that your alliance is voting for the other person.
Here
Very
we
funny
are.
that it's George versus Georgia.
Yeah.
So when you have your alliance vote for Kara, then you know for sure that no matter what, even if there is a flip to the other side, like you still have the votes on Kara, and like in whatever potential situation happens, like if George plays the idol for himself, then he will go home. And I overall I thought this was a great move on this big alliance's part, and they played it really perfectly. And I think it's a testament to how good this alliance is that they've gotten, I would say, all three of the sort of swings in this situation to flip over to them.
Yeah. So Wei, I'm actually kind of surprised that they thought Wei would be the easiest to flip over, because I really thought they would have gone for somebody like Baden, who had disagreements with George. It's like, oh, Baden called out George like the second episode. He would easily flip it. No, they do it for Wei, and I'm actually a little surprised that Wei flipped. I'm happy she did. She's safe. And you could see that it actually did hurt like her emotionally, because like George did save her that first tribal, because if he did nothing, she would have 100% gone home, and we'd have Crocodile Hat instead, who could have been fun, but
Bye.
yeah. One thing I'm actually kind of surprised, they were all originally going to pile their votes onto George, but Laura of all people says she feels funny, they are shifty, maybe we should try to split the votes.
And this is another instance where like busting out the idol doesn't help you. It just confirms that you need to split the votes, and they do so successfully.
Yeah, and this time it's Kara who busts out, and then they decide to play past the idol, giving it to Baden, whose name never came up, then giving it to George, and then back to Kara.
Which also didn't really work. Like,
again, watch the show. This is for all college, I'm too college survivors for some reason on my mind. All types of survivors. Never show people you have an idol. Maybe show an ally. I say you don't, because it never works out well. Name one time. Sure, there's been times where like people show their idol right before votes are cast. Like, I have an idol, but that just switches to one of your allies. It never goes well for people.
Right, and I think that like the only way that it's beneficial is in a situation like in a situation like I don't want to say Karamoan, but like it's beneficial if you bust out the idol to like sort of be like, okay, you guys need to pick amongst yourselves. But in reality, you want the control. And so
Yeah.
I feel like that's really what's important here is like you want to know that you have control. And so advertising a move that you're going to make is losing the control.
Yeah. That's what you always keep the idol secret. You know they're going to vote for you. I know you want to keep your idol to the final five so you get an easy shot to the final four. But sometimes playing an idol is great as well. There's always one move that that frustrated me, and it's College Survivor again. Palamedes, when Swetha got voted off, and Zach was like, I have this idol, y'all can't vote for me. It's like, did he not think, like, did these play? If you just kept that a secret and just played it, you could have gotten out Carly one tribal earlier, and Swetha would have still been in with an idol. No.
Did you watch Survivor Buffalo?
No.
Do you care if I spoil it for you, or are you gonna if I spoil
Go ahead.
for you?
Go
So
ahead,
there was a moment where my alliance had an idol, and my ally played it on herself. But we knew everybody kind of knew she had it, right? Well, they voted for me, and I went home. If we had just thought for like 5 seconds, like, hey, Lindsay won the idol in the auction. Why would they vote for Lindsay when we know that Lindsay's paranoid? Maybe we should play it on somebody else. Maybe we should play it on the other person in this alliance that's a big threat right now. But you have to, that's why, and I completely agree with you, like, don't tell people you have an idol, but also, like, always think, you're always, there's a moment on The Genius where they're playing a game that's all about, like, trying to counteract your opponent's moves, and when you're trying to do that, you have to think about what the best possible outcome that they could get is, which is, like, a flushed idol and somebody else goes home. Okay. So if I'm going to waste my idol, they're probably going to make it seem like it's going to be me. And then they're going to vote for somebody else, or they're going to split the votes. Like, I just feel like I don't understand what Kara was doing in this instance. And especially with George and the way he's playing, like, they really were just playing way too messy for anything to really happen. And I feel bad for them.
Yeah. So Kara gets up, plays the idol on George. George has the most votes, but they're tied between Kara and Georgia, and on the revote, Kara goes home. Two firsts in Survivor history. One, the first 4-3-3 vote.
Okay.
And two, I know vote counts. And two, the first time somebody played an idol and idoled themselves out. I'm pretty sure this is something we all wanted to see, but maybe on different people.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have seen something like Keith Nail playing the idol on himself, knowing that Wes would go home. But other than that, like, this very rarely happens where somebody doesn't really know that they're the opposite of the split vote, right? Like, usually you play it on yourself because you think it's going to be you or somebody else, but rarely do you not think it's going to be you.
I think she knew it was her, and she just wanted to save George.
Interesting.
Like, you could see it. Like, she didn't look like, oh, I played it wrong. You could tell, like, she was like, I know that this is sending me home, but I'm playing this for George. Maybe it has something to do with her being an empath. Do you believe all that?
No, I'm sorry to people who do, but like, look, I understand that, like, look, I have weird deja vu a lot of the time. Like, I will have a moment where I'm like, I've definitely, like, been here before in my head, but I've
actually had a premonition before.
Yeah, like, I've had, like, weird, like, sort of semi-premonitions, but, like, I do not believe that people can, like, access that part of their brain on will and just, like, use it to tell people that grandma's doing okay, Like, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in that kind of stuff.
I like to think it's out there. Like, I grew up watching Charmed. I love I was like, I like to believe that was out there. If
Oh
Phoebe
yeah,
can do
I
it,
like to believe the idea that it's out there. But I would not go to someone for that opinion.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe Alyssa Milano really is an empath.
You know what? She's not good at dressing on Project Runway. That's absolutely.
Oh yeah, she was a guest. Oh yeah, she was a guest judge on Project Runway.
Horrible style. She was the Project Runway All Stars host. Horrible style.
Oh, was
I'm
she?
sorry, Alyssa girl. Terrible style.
Uh,
That's what I remember her most for.
Yeah. I always just remember her on Charmed.
I
Like
know.
I grew up watching that.
I was more of a Sabrina the Teenage Witch kind of girl.
Oh, I was that as well. Anything with like magic.
Yeah, I loved magic. I loved mermaids. I loved all that shit. You know, like the non-human
H2O,
like
just out water.
What about Winx? Did you have Winx in Ireland?
I loved Winx. We had a different version though. Like we had I'm pretty sure you had like the terrible version where all of them sound the exact same. We had the 4Kids version over here where it was only the first 3 seasons. And oh, I just remember absolutely loving it. Side ramble. The Fate the Winx saga.
I see. Here's the thing. I know of Winx. I did not watch it. Like I watched it a little bit, right? Like I was also. Let me see. When did Winx come out? I was about to be too old for that shit. Like, just let me look it up. Hang on, I gotta find out.
I mean, I was a lad watching it, so
it premiered in 2004. Okay, so I was about 10 years old. So I was probably the right
3.
time. Yeah, but then it really picked up on like 2010.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, they were airing even in like 2014. Damn. Okay. Original series 2004 to 2009, revived 2011 to 2019.
Oh, that must be the bad seasons.
But like Winx, you know what I loved? I don't know. Were you ever on Neopets? Like I also loved like the fairies of Neopets. A very big fairy person in that regard. Love that shit.
I mean, any like magical girl transformation show, I always loved. Wings, Witch, Totally Spies. That wasn't technically magic, but still.
I would truly, first of all, I would truly kill to have like a skin tight, like leather, like yellow or green bodysuit. I would love to have that aesthetic, but also, I feel like Totally Spies influenced a lot of young girls to pretend that their makeup was equipment, and like I was one of those bitches, being like, "Oh, my compact that I could definitely use to call, you know,
laser lipstick."
service." Yeah, absolutely.
This looks like hairspray, but it's really tornado in a can.
Yeah, that was my vibe. That was and like impossible shit, like Totally Spy. The sort of spy era of like girls television was such a fucking
Casey Undercover.
Oh god,
that was your Disney Channel.
I'm trying to think what else though. Like we're like Agent Cody Banks, even like Hilary Duff and a queen in that movie. I don't know if that came to you guys, but that's like Cody, like that was like Frankie Muniz being like an undercover agent at like the age of 14, right?
Don't know who that is.
Like Malcolm in the Middle, Frankie Muniz, not a name that registers to you. Oh man, I'm old. All right, moving on.
Okay, back to Survivor. Enough about classic shows that were great. So Cara gets voted off. We're sad to see her go, but plot twist. It was a fake tribal. Cara sees the sign say, "You've been voted off, but your game's not over yet. Take this red buff and head over to the Brawn tribe." And I was happy.
Yeah. I was too.
Yeah. I usually hate these twists when it's a fake tribal because it just feels like a waste. Like, like seriously, you dragged all this out just for the person to see. But I have a theory about this. I think this was supposed to be for George. I think George was supposed to get voted off and then saved because Cara wasn't that well edited until this episode. She she got her big intro moment in the first episode, but like no confessionals, maybe an odd one. like throughout the next 4, and then gets screen time this one. I think they believed that Kara was going to play the idol on herself, and George would have still went home, and then he would have been saved over to the Brawn. Because if you look,
go ahead.
Because I was going to say, if you look at the history of fake tribals happening, it's always to save like usually someone that's well edited, male. Male is usually the big thing, like alpha male mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a producer favorite. And Kara, she was not that well edited. Last time I checked, she was a woman. She identified as female. We don't know. And
as far as at the moment she does. I mean, Phil uses they them pronouns, which I didn't actually really recognize until later. But I also think that's something to talk about. Is like if we're entering a new territory where like people who identify as non-binary are playing the game, I think it's important to recognize that in any episodes, because when like Phil is a fun person, and I was kind of sad that Phil like didn't get saved. I was really shocked that George didn't save them.
same.
But with that being said, like if you're gonna utilize people who have pronouns that are not like a like what you would assume as somebody, you gotta start putting them in the show, in the subtitles. Like I really feel like it's a super important move that Survivor editing needs to make. If Survivor can clog up the bottom with like, chef or whatever job or artist or whatever, like put their pronouns in there. Just put them right next to them. Yeah. I think it's an important step in the casting decisions that needs to kind of happen. And I was more surprised, like I found out after the fact.
And I'm sure there's a confessional somewhere of him mentioning it as well.
Yeah, and so like that's what I feel like is important to the game. But yes, I really think that you're right, that this was supposed to be a twist that was meant to save George. And more importantly, I remember I was seeing everybody tweet about like George having an overpowered twist, and I thought that had happened at the first tribal. I thought that George had gotten this sort of situation on like voted out day 1, because all I kept saying is like people being like, George had such an overpowered advantage. I was like, oh, I bet you just got to switch tribes. Like, Australian Survivor classic, hey, you're not voted out, switch over. But turns out it wasn't.
No, it was Kara. I think they were just talking about that save half your tribe.
Yep, which I didn't realize until I started watching the episode.
Yeah, which for some reason was only on the Brains tribe.
Okay.
I'm flicking through my Survivor hardback to go back over all the fake tribals. I mean, the infamous ones have been I love her, but when Shawnee was saved twice.
Yeah, Shawnee, and then what? Connor got saved. Who did Connor switch places with?
He switched with Nick, who got saved.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Connor and Nick switched places.
And Sean was, I think, originally going to be voted off, but it was like a surprise twist where it's like, hold up, the other tribe gets to steal someone. No, it was Harry who's going to be voted off.
Oh.
And then it was like, okay, here's the twist. The other tribe gets to steal someone.
Yeah, I think that, like, look, it's expected on Australian Survivor. You have to worry about that consequence. But I do, at the very least, what I appreciate is that it's not like an Edge of Extinction where you get voted out and you have sort of, you're hidden away for weeks. You come right back, right? Like, you just, like, pop right back in and everybody knows what's going on versus like a situation where it's like, oh, we're going to wait until, like, the jury phase and then someone's going to get back in the game, Like, I do like it.
We're going to wait till Final 5 and first boot gets to come back.
Yeah, but at the very least, it's like,
Never. Okay, Australian Survivor. No, listen, because I know you're watching. You already have bad editing. You're not the best with showing the right people. You tend to ignore people.
Right.
You do unnecessary twists. I think the stupidest twist was the Final 6 All-Star Challenge, where instead of reading the votes, it was like, you get to do fire making instead. Worst twist ever.
Yeah. Never
bring Edge of Extinction onto your show, because that season will automatically be the worst.
I don't think they would do it because it would be so hard to edit. But yeah, like I fear that they could do some sort of Outcast type twist and like we would be screwed.
Yeah. Like, imagine 20 people on an edge of Extinction Island.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, and that's where we end. We end with Kara going to the other tribe and George crying.
This was cute. I thought this was kind of cute how like their little friendship forms, but I was really just like, Kara, what the fuck are you doing, my guy? Like, dude, this is Kara, girl, get your shit together because this was a weird move.
Sometimes being, as you guys say, the nice guys finish last, and you do have to be cutthroat in Survivor, especially with these people. Although I will say, just to have a little tender moment, I can't wait to see the joy on George's face when he realizes Kara is still in the game.
Well, that's gonna be really funny, especially because then he's just gonna be such a little asshole around camp afterwards.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, hey, 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 hey. Oh, I also mentioned, I wanted to say, every tribal George has been to, he had some sort of advantage. I want to see him at a tribal where he has no advantage.
Yeah, and that's again, this goes back to why I think it's important that Wade did flip, because there is no chance that George survives a tribal where he doesn't have immunity of some kind. Like, he is going to go home, and it's just a matter of when. Like, you cannot die on that hill. Like, you're screwed.
Yeah, he doesn't have the social skills too.
Exactly.
And I always feel like people mistake idols for good gameplay. Like, oh, you found an idol. Oh, you played an idol. You must be this huge strategic threat. It's one thing to find an idol, it's another to use an idol.
Mm.
Like, people who keep idols till Final 5, like, yeah, you're guaranteed a Final 4, but there's so many opportunities you could have taken and you just wasted them.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, George. Play a little better.
Yeah. Although I will say, online he's defending Wei because for some reason people are coming after Wei for flipping, and I'm like, why? Why are you going after this woman who made this decision? Who knows how many months or years ago? Do what the rest of us just do. Join a Discord group, complain in there in a bunch of private people, or keep it in your head.
Yeah, I feel like you can. I'm a big Wei fan right now, and I think that she made the correct move. We stand Wei because she did make the move that was most beneficial to her, and I think at the end of the day, whether or not it works out, like, you know, if down the line she's voted out in like 2 votes, right? I still think she made the correct move because George is not an ally that will get you more allies. You want an ally that could potentially get you more allies and could get you more people working with you. And you can't go, this is my friend George. He's kind of a mess, but he votes with us. Like, nobody's going to want to work with you. So, oh well. And interesting. I like Batch of Epic a little bit than the first 3, but a lot less Kez content, and I was upset about that.
Yeah.
More Kez. I need more Kez.
What are your thoughts on people saying Kez is the new Wentworth just without a personality?
Oh, you know.
Yeah, it's like Kez is like a mixture of Sydney and Wentworth. Because like
she is, and I kind of love her. She's a queen, and a little bit of Phoebe too. Like, I love her. I'm ready for whatever she's got going on. You know,
2016 Phoebe and not All Stars Phoebe.
Correct.
Oh, so many great people were done dirty on All Stars. Phoebe, Flick, Phoebe. Who else was on All Stars? I think honestly Daisy a little bit. I know you don't like her, but still.
Nick Iadanza done very wrong. And honestly,
Michelle,
like, Sharn fucked over AK, Brooke, and Shawnee, and I'll never forgive them.
Yeah, the moment she said, "I'm bringing David to the final trial," was like, "Girl, you're doomed for repeat." It was always hit. I kind of noticed this when I was thinking back about All Stars. Her mentioning, people would mention her final tribal council throughout the season, like little bits, and it's kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing. Because like she does like this talent where she like does a tongue twister, and then Nick was like, "Now, if only you had that at your final tribal council." It's like, is this foreshadowing?
Yeah, I love the Sharn losing twice. It's like Paul losing Big Brother twice. Like, always funny to watch.
Yeah, but you actually felt bad for Sharn when she lost the first time, while Paul's like, "Go fuck yourself. Thank God you lost twice." And at least Sharon lost to people that deserve it. Nicole's
Right.
great. Josh is an idiot.
I love dumbass Josh.
Uh,
Like I
take,
don't like Josh, but like I love what a dumbass he is.
get him off the challenge, please. I've said this 100 times. I don't know if you watched my review when I was with Nathan talking about Challenge All Stars, and we randomly talk about how Big Brother ruins the challenge. I kept saying, stop casting Josh. I still stand by that. Stop casting
See,
him. And don't bring back Amanda either.
You don't like Amanda?
I hate her. I hate her since our Are You the One. I hate her since our Are You the One season.
Here's the thing. I feel like I agree with you. Big Brother sucks. Long time my challenge.
We root for Claire though.
Big Brother sucks VIP lounge. But I think that the more egregious casting choices are Fessy and Casey because they're boring. Like as much as I dislike Josh and Amanda, I've sort of waffled on for years. Like I like her, I don't like her. They are dramatic, and that's what the challenge has been missing. I think as of late, it's way too focused on competition and not focused on like the infighting. And they bring the infighting. Like I can respect somebody who's going to be chaotic. Like that's why, as much as I dislike Polly and Kara, like they're funny TV. Like they are dramatic. I know, I get it. Like they're dramatic, and so they bring the entertainment. Casey and Fessy offer absolutely nothing, and I never want to see them again on my television screen.
I've always said this: they're casting the wrong Big Brother people.
Right. Come on, Amber. Come on, Amber, winning the season. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, come on, Amber M.
Come on, Amber. Oh, Amber M. Come on. That's definitely should go on, girl. Give us nothing, huh? Poor Amber.
I hope they cast some Baby 23 people.
Yeah.
Like, let's see Claire on the challenge. Why not?
I feel like Claire. Yeah, Claire would be funny on the challenge, but I feel like they would like. I don't want to fuck with challenge fans. I'm like scared of them, Like I don't want to fuck with them.
You don't trust me.
Well, not even you, but like I've seen like
Oh no, I wasn't talking about me. I was talking with the others.
Oh yeah, the challenge stands are fucking crazy. Like I don't fuck with, and Big Brother stands are also crazy. But like, why would you invite both of them into your life?
Yeah, well, Big Brother stands to Big Brother sucks. Challenge stands. If you don't root for their favorite, they will go on about it. Shout out Antonio, Bananas Defender.
Oh, Bananas Defender. What a name to be known for, huh?
I mean, he is known as the most hated Twitter stan. Hated. It's only because he supports Bananas.
So who do you think is going to go home next in Australia and Survivor? That's my question to you. What do you think could happen?
Let's see, who hasn't gotten their intro moment yet? I think the only people without an intro moment are Rachel and Laura.
I really want to see Rachel do well. I'm rooting for them.
I'm hopeful for Rachel. I feel like as soon as Laura gets more airtime, she will go home.
Yep.
Same with no. I feel like Andrew is like he's like Steve W from Chance vs. Contenders 1.
Yeah.
Where he's like he's there. Like he could be fun, but he won't be.
I feel like we could easily see either Emmett or Shannon going next if like Simon's idols come into play. I feel like it's or like even Danny, but I feel like either it's going to be successful and they're going to get Emmett, or it's going to be unsuccessful and they're going to get Shannon.
That's my prediction. For some reason, they're going to target Flick instead. I don't know why. It's just random thought in my head.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. Basically, anyone
we're gonna find out soon, right?
Yeah, we'll find out on Sunday.
Right.
And I guess that's it. I suppose I should add. Thanks, Naomi, for again coming last minute and talking almost 2 hours about this show. I
love Survivor. I don't mind. We don't get to talk enough about people that are like people we'll never meet or talk to. Like I'll shit on Simon all day because I'm not gonna fucking talk to him.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about somebody adding me into Discord being like, hey, and like, oh, hi Dale, hi Jackson.
Hi Dale, hi Jackson. Very funny. Well, I have to say, Lee, I love our Scotty Survivor coverage, so people should watch that for sure.
Go ahead
And when
and
the
do
finale
it.
comes out, we will talk about it when the time comes.
Yeah, Team Olivia,
Team Olivia, baby.
please
What
win.
else? Who else is there to root for at this point in time? I guess
Team
Sarah, but like
Sarah.
other than that,
Yeah.
nobody.
Team Audrey.
Oh, I guess Queen Audrey. Let's go.
Yeah. How dare you forget about her?
Sorry.
That's my job. And thanks everybody for watching. We will be back hopefully next Friday. Hopefully it'll be less chaotic than this week. You can catch Australian Survivor Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, whatever time zone you're in. You can subscribe to Live Reality Game Shows podcast on YouTube, join the Facebook group. You can join the Survivor Reddit Discord where we talk all things Australian Survivor, US Survivor, South Africa Survivor, college survivors, even orcs you could play. No MC Survivor chat yet. I'll get working on it.
It's a fun time. Thank you for watching, and Lee, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. And we'll see y'all next time. Link in bio and other YouTube phrases.
There you go. Come on, subscribers. Come on, subscription.